perhaps to start off, we could have you tell us a little bit about Aboitiz Power Corporation and what it does.
Sure. So Aboitiz Power Corporation, or Aboitiz Power, is a Filipino-owned vertically integrated power company that holds a diverse portfolio of business assets in the realm of power generation, power distribution, and retail electricity services. With the purpose of transforming energy for a better world, we see ourselves as a provider of reliable, reasonable, and reasonably produced power to our customers. Our balanced mixed portfolio in power generation, distribution, and retail electricity services is located all across the Philippine archipelago, and it provides roughly 5,000 megawatts of net attributable energy to more than a million Filipino homes. That's Boitis Power in a nutshell, Natalie. Thank you.
Right, thank you. And I understand that you are the president and CEO of the Coal Business Unit. Could you tell me a little bit about what that entails?
Yeah, so I am the I'm the president and CEO of the Thermal Business Group, right? So essentially, that's all our coal and diesel assets throughout the country. And in the future, as we build natural gas, that also falls under my portfolio.
Right, okay. I think let's move on to, the fact that you're based in the Philippines. And could you share a little bit about observations that you've made regarding the energy and power industry in the Philippines itself?
That's an interesting question, Natalie. So the global energy landscape is undergoing one of its most significant transformations in a long time, right? Guess goes to show my age, right? As more countries are moving into what we call an energy transition. Developing countries like the Philippines are on their own transition journey, to help slow climate change, while at the same time ensure a sustainable and sufficient power supply to our nation, to its people, right? Since the Energy Reform Act in the Philippines, the private sector of the Philippines has played a huge role in energy development. It has led to increased power supply and diversification of energy sources, right? And has also strengthened the distribution systems. Having
Right.
said that, the Philippines is still a growing nation. It has pledged through its Philippine Energy Plan for 2040 to reach a 35% minimum renewable energy share by 2030 and 50% renewable energy share by 2040. These are not easy. Several policies have been put in place to support this. Aboitiz Power has also pledged to increase its renewable energy capacity, aiming for a 50-50 mix by 2030. We are, by the way, the country's largest renewable energy company by attributable capacity, Natalie. That said, it remains a fact that the Philippines still needs stable baseload power to fuel its development in the near to medium term. There's still dependency on baseload thermal plants, and the need to fast-track transitory-based technologies like LNG is an imperative for us.
Right. Earlier, you mentioned a bit about the policies that are in place for the Philippines energy industry. And I just want to ask, how do you think regulatory frameworks and these policies can be improved? And, in your opinion, what are some of the key areas that you think will take highest priority right now?
Well, there are a number of policy improvements that have happened over the years. There's an improvement to improve the permitting process, for example, for energy project development and build in the Philippines. We are lucky that the current administration is really focusing a lot on it. In fact, in the Philippines, right, we have now instituted what is called the EVOS law, right? The EVOS law is the Energy Virtual One-Stop Shop, right? That rounds up all the agencies required to review the energy projects, right? It cuts bureaucracy and the time needed for approval of projects significantly. And I'm sure this will get better over time.
And let's take a wider look, I suppose, at the rest of the ASEAN region. With regard to where Philippines is right now in the energy and power industry, how would you feel that this differs from the rest of the ASEAN region?
That's a interesting question. We are in different stages of the energy transition, no? And each country has to address its respective challenges, no? But I am glad that the Asia Pacific region recognizes that there is no one size fit all solution, right? That we are all our own special and specific geography, and solutions have to be tailor fit accordingly. However, this does not stop the region to think collectively as well. No, the ASEAN power grid example, for example, no, is one good measure to support all the regions in ensuring energy security. And as that matures over time, I am sure that the ASEAN region can provide various solutions to all the member states.
Right. Okay. And what are some concerns that you have regarding the state of the energy industry and subsequent decarbonization efforts?
Another excellent question. We are happy that the world is demanding for an energy transition beneficial for generations to come. This has been expedited by the availability of several energy technologies to address this demand. However, the push for an energy transition and decarbonization is not just reducing carbon emissions. It should also prioritize justice and equity, both on a global scale and in the individual countries. Simply put, we must strive for an equitable transition, a transition that puts into consideration developing countries to power and aid their socio-economic development as well. Achieving a just and equitable transition is not only a moral imperative, Natalie, but also vital for the success and sustainability of global decarbonization efforts. It's essential to ensure that no one is left behind in the pursuit of a cleaner, more sustainable energy future that benefits both current and future generations. Right? And we're thankful to our more developed brothers and sisters in the global stage, right? Wherein they essentially have taken the lead, no, and they're showing us what can and cannot be done, no. I understand in Germany now, certain coal plants have to be reactivated after an aggressive push towards renewable energy, and the learnings from such an experience is something that will definitely benefit ASEAN.
I It's interesting that you've mentioned how we need to have an equitable transition because I think we're really looking at the different strata of people who have different levels of access, right, to this energy transition. Could you tell me a little bit about how the Philippines is advancing in making this transition more accessible to everybody?
Okay. Um, well, we don't see us going away from coal anytime soon, no? While it is here, the role of thermal power plants is to ensure that our energy systems function efficiently both in cost and operations. Hybridization of thermal power plants between coal and other baseload gas sources is also an emerging option, right? The Philippines aims to have a 50% RE in its energy mix by 2040. This means that thermal is still needed in the future. What this means for thermal operating power plants is that we need to digitalize, employ carbon capture technologies, hybridize, no, to ensure operations will be reliable and managed well. In fact, we're very happy to inform the body that in the Philippines, Aboitiz Power, we have already commissioned our first floating 50 megawatt hybridized battery energy storage system, which has now begun to bear fruit and provide the grid with its much needed ancillary services. On top of that, we are now digitalizing, right, the use of AI to ensure high reliability and availability in our power plants, and as well as efficiency through the use of data and analytics.
So I understand that the Philippines isn't really looking to shift away from coal for the immediate future. But between the exponential increase for the shift away from fossil fuels, what does as well as the added pressure to make this shift yourself, what would you say this means for the future of coal when it comes to power generation? And are you feeling that pressure to shift away from it?
Um, the pressure comes from multiple fronts, Natalie, right? So first and foremost, you have the matter of the need to move towards a more sustainable technology base, right? So RE technology must mature fast, cost must go down fast, energy storage systems must become more and more available and pervasive, The reliability of transmission systems is also a priority to meet and minimize grid disturbance. And the second and tertiary pressures would be to continuously ensure that there's high reliability and availability of these thermal assets so that people will have the basis for an economic growth, right? In the absence of baseload power, the economy cannot grow and cannot move towards a more sustainable setup if it cannot achieve the necessary reliability and cost affordability within its own grid.
And where would you say the biggest challenge lies in, in making this shift from say from coal to more renewable energy sources?
Biggest challenges, where to start, right? I guess where to start. Um, well, in my opinion, right, the enabling of thermal power plants and and transition based on technologies can provide stability to the power sector, at least in the interim, right? While we pave the way for a more mature and reliable RE technology future. This is what we call in Aboitiz, no? This is what we call building the future today by leading the energy transition and ensuring energy security and equity. This is part of Aboitiz Power's massive transformative purpose. We call for a balanced and just transition, as in this state, everyone has a role to play in the building of that energy future.
Well, how long do you think it's going to take to overcome this challenge, especially speaking to the industry and regions?
Right. I don't think of it in terms of timelines, Natalie. Ultimately, I think there will be triggers. No, like I said earlier, the first and foremost would be one, the that the grid already is a state of reliable and affordable. Right. Second, the triggers for RE technology, right, shows that it is ready to take a bigger baseload space within the energy systems, right? Three, the maturing transmission systems we have in country that will play a very vital role in the like. But I'm very proud to tell you that in terms of policy and strategy, right, the country is well focused on the right triggers. That the things that are necessary for us to be able to advance into a more sustainable energy system are already there. Case in point, we've already had the interconnections between the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao major island group in the Philippine archipelagic country. And such an interconnection is a first important step in ensuring that the energy triggers are in the right place.
So, Mr. Salso, it was quite interesting, a very unique point that you just shared there, where you say the energy transition is possibly more reliant on triggers instead of a timeline, which we see in say, other countries and industries. Could you share a little bit more about this opinion of yours?
Thank you for that, Natalie. So yes, like I said earlier, I'm very happy and thankful to our more advanced nations and the brothers and sisters, right? That they have shown us, right, the lessons, no, from rushing into a transition without carefully thinking of the various triggers, no. If we put timelines rather than the necessary prerequisites in place, what happens is like in other countries who have rushed to do renewable energy, they're now essentially looking at reverting back to thermal capacities, right? And developing nations cannot afford to make such a mistake. So what's important is that we're learning through their experience, right? What triggers need to be put in place for the transition to happen effectively. And what we've seen quite clearly, right? One, the necessity for the grid to be reliable. Two, for it to generate affordable baseload capacities, right? Third, maturing renewable energy technologies. And last among the set I earlier mentioned is transmission systems developing at the right pace. No? With these triggers in place, we can definitely hasten a transition to a more sustainable energy future.
Thank you very much for sharing that with me. I just
My
wanted to
pleasure.
very quickly I just wanted to very quickly touch on Aboitiz's portfolio, and we see that you draw from a portfolio of renewable and thermal sources. You have gone into that a little bit yourself as well. So, are there any plans to further refine this portfolio? And can you share them with us?
Yes. Well, Aboitiz Power aspires and is committed to transforming energy for a better world, right? Very lofty aspiration. No? But this means that we are one with the pursuit to a just and equitable energy transition, right? Uh, we will continue to usher a 50-50 mix in our energy portfolio. This means more RE projects, renewable energy projects, and more energy efficient efforts in our existing assets, which is what I mentioned earlier, data and analytics, hybridization, essentially running our plants at world-class standards. Right? Aboitiz Power also embraces the use of artificial intelligence in its digitalization efforts, and we are aiming and understanding its better and its possible application to our power plants. We are, case in point, looking at how it can make the overall cost of power to every Filipino much cheaper over a long period of time.
I see. So it ties back to that equity all over again.
Correct, correct, Natalie. Essentially, the system, right? We believe that by strengthening the system, we and the industry, it will pave the way for a natural and successful energy transition.
Well, looking forward, could you tell us a little bit more about what plans you've got for the car sector as a whole in the Philippines?
Okay. Well, for the industry, right? Well, I think it will feel the pressure of the rapid economic growth and urbanization. So that will mean we will have to be building more and more assets. There has to be uh, more investment in the field, not just for renewable energy, but for the necessary energy transition technologies such as LNG, right? Particularly in developing countries like the Philippines, right? And together with this growth is, and the need for more power will require the setting up of the right policy frameworks and learning from our more experienced developed countries, right? What not to do and what to do, what are the best practices, right? What mistakes not to repeat. The ASEAN region will definitely move towards more renewable energy due to the dropping price of technology, but the dependence on baseload thermal plants will remain, and we will have to figure that one out too. As we see more available and more mature RE technologies in near to medium term, our baseload plants will provide stability to continue powering the region's progress. Right? The ASEAN power grid, right, is something that is very promising in the next 5 to 10 years. We are hoping that the archipelagic countries separate from the more landlocked ASEAN neighbors, like the Philippines or Indonesia, will also benefit in the near term. But of course, submarine cables are quite expensive. So that's an area definitely for improvement. No? The ASEAN energy industry is in the middle of a major transformation. This makes the energy space full of opportunities, an exciting time to be in this, and a lot of power stakeholders who will have to step it up and lead the energy transition.
Right. Yeah, you're right that the Philippines has a very unique geographical terrain compared to its ASEAN counterparts in that sense. Do you think that this will, or rather, how do you think this will affect your energy transition roadmap? And do you think that it provides you with any advantages or disadvantages compared to the other ASEAN countries?
Right. So I think the cooperation need not necessarily be dependent on interconnectivity of the various grids. No, it can come in various other support mechanisms, like you have cheap coal coming from Indonesia, which will lead to reliability and affordability. You will have technologies coming from Malaysia and the other countries and Singapore, right? And policy framework, right? That is vital for developing countries like the Philippines, no, to learn from its more experienced brothers and sisters, so that it can gain the advantage of and the benefit of years of experience of its neighbors.
I see. So feasibly, there is a there is an opportunity here, you're saying, that the ASEAN region itself can stand to learn from each specific part of the region
For
itself.
sure. In fact, Natalie, let me tell you that I've been traveling all over Southeast Asia in the last few months, and I've been learning a lot from our friends in Thailand, friends in Indonesia, friends from Singapore, right? I'm scheduled to travel to Malaysia soon. So there are best in class practices out there that, we just need to have the right fora, such as Enlit Asia, where we can all meet and talk and share these experiences, and which is why we're very actively involved in Enlit Asia.
I see. I was just about to bring up that point myself with all your travels. I know you'll be traveling to Jakarta very soon to be here with us at Amlet Asia 2023. So, could you tell me a little bit more about what Aboitiz hopes to achieve by being with us at the conference and event?
Yeah, unfortunately, it always ruins my diet, Natalie, every time I have to travel to Enlit Asia, right? And again, food in Indonesia is fantastic and looking forward to having it. We hope to collaborate with the rest of the Enlit Asia membership to share Aboitiz Power's lived experience in transforming energy for a better world. I'm proud to share and talk about Aboitiz Power now in the commercial operations of its very first floating battery energy storage system and its hybridized power plant. We will be glad to learn also from the other players in the energy storage space and also share experience with the region. We also want to influence the Enlit Asia stakeholders to subscribe to just to a just and equitable energy transition, a transition that balances development, reliability, and future proofing of the region and the rest of the world. I'm looking forward to joining you in Enlit Asia soon.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Celso.